need this cup of tea. I've just finished taking my cat to the vet. What an ordeal. I was a whole hour too early. Thankfully, they squeezed me in. Sorry for the slurping. It's a little hot. Who likes my new mug? Came from the Fun Island. No, it didn't. That's a lie. Did it? No, it didn't. It came from Sea Houses before I went on a puffin tour, but it was a bit early in the year for puffins, or late in the year. Anyway, there were no puffins, there were lots of seals. It was lovely. What an adventure. I'll put a bit of the footage in here. Hi, I'm Jay. If you're new here, welcome. If you're coming back, hi, nice to see you. I'm back from my holidays. This is the StitchyJam Knitting Podcast YouTube channel. You can also find me with the same name on Instagram and Ravelry. And I have a new Instagram page, StitchyJam Project Bags, which I'll tell you all about in a little while. It's been about 6 weeks since I filmed. I have been to the UK for a month in between that, and I have had real trouble settling back in, and I haven't been in the right headspace to do this podcast, so here we are. Lovely to see everyone. I hope you've all got a nice cup of tea. I'm drinking Yorkshire tea, of course. I'm like Yorkshire obsessed, so why would I not be drinking Yorkshire tea? And I've actually been now. How exciting. I really want to live there. Who wouldn't? What more could you ask for? Lovely countryside, peace and quiet, animals, beautiful view. I hear it gets super cold and I'm Australian and everyone's worried about that, but I like being cold and I like being cozy, and I'm a knitter. I like to knit cozy things, and given that we're going into spring here in Australia, which my other Aussie YouTube knitting friends will understand, is that it's too hot to wear anything woolly, which is probably why some of you knit things like in cotton for spring, summer, and I will do that, I think, for next year. However, I have not done that thus far because I like cozy woolly things. Anyway, I'm really enjoying this cup of tea. I'm really enjoying having a day off work. Although I do love my job, I've been feeling very burnt out lately. Not to do with my job, to do with getting back from overseas, settling in, etc. There's been a lot going on, what can I say? I had a prelim diagnosis for ADHD and autism. I then went overseas for a month and saw all my family and friends. Had a wonderful time, however, got COVID, so did my mother, the first week of our holiday. And as nice as it is to see everyone, it also makes me really sad when I have to leave. And really unsettled. So it's come in waves and I've had a really hard time settling back in and not being sad. And my brain has been, which apparently according to my psychologist is very, very normal. And I've got to be patient with myself, to which I am not. Anyway, where should I start? I hope you're all well. It's lovely to see you. Thanks for tuning back in. Where to start? So I'll start with my holiday. I had a lovely time. I went to a few different places, starting off in Scotland and moving down to the northeast, through down to the Dales, and then down to the Devon, down south, near Devon even. I had lots of farm adventures. I had lots of walking, not as much as I would have liked, but I got COVID. I stumbled across a few community gardens and I had a bit of a woolly adventure, which is why you're here mainly, I think. And so I shall start there, and I'll put a bit of footage in as well. So I was going to get my notepad, but I think that I can run through it without. So we went for 4 weeks, my mother and I. We had this grand plan of going to all these yarn shops and doing all these walks and all of that jazz. But unfortunately, we both got sick. She got very sick. So where we were going to go in Edinburgh, it didn't happen. However, I did climb Arthur's Seat and I was super proud of myself. I'm scared of heights and it was amazing. I didn't get to any wool shops in Edinburgh, unfortunately, despite having a plan to, because we weren't there long enough and I was very focused on my mother being ill with COVID, because she was very ill, very, very ill. And at the time I didn't have it. And then, so we went from there. We were supposed to do an Outlander tour. However, we couldn't do that. And so the next day I gathered her up, threw us both on a train and headed to my uncle's house, where my mum went into a hotel and I went to a farm. Because at the time I was negative. So yes, had a bit of R&R, some knitting time, and I was working on my tea at Downton Abbey socks, or tea time at Downton Socks, which I will show you, and padding horses and going on walks with dogs. It was amazing, and it was horrible at the same time because my mum was really ill in a hotel room. It was the nicest place on earth, Corbridge, which is, my uncle owned the hotel at the time. He still does technically, but he's not working there at the moment. He started his own boxing gym, doing amazing. Love it. If you're in the northeast of England, you've got to check out Lang's boxing gym if you're into that kind of thing. So that's up in the northeast near in Ponteland, and so Corbridge, my mother was staying, and I was stressed because she was sick. So then next thing, I got a positive result and I got shipped off to stay with her. And you know, it could have been a lot worse of a place to stay than beautiful Corbridge to have COVID. So she got better, then I got better. We had a bit of time on the farm, and yes. Anyway, I've totally skipped and jumped ahead. So let's just rewind before COVID. Before COVID, we were in Scotland. And before Edinburgh, we were in Glasgow. And the reason that we stayed in Glasgow was we could go to New Lanark in Lanark, which is a woolen mill, a working woolen mill with a lot of great history. So off we trot on the train, knitting on the train and heading to New Lanark. The weather was typically Scottish and absolutely peltering it down. Yes, we were dressed accordingly. Yes, we still got soaking wet. However, New Lanark is a heritage listed textile mill in Scotland. It was founded by Robert Owen in 1975, and Robert Owen was this incredible human being who basically revolutionized workers' rights, provided them an education and provided them with housing, and built this village, if you like, to house the workers of the woolen mill. So we went there, we had a wonderful time, and I will put some footage in here so that you can have a look at the mill and the workers' cottages and watch them doing yarny things. So I will see you in a minute. So I had a really great time there, and the view and everything about it was just lovely, and I could see how nice it would be to, I mean, it would have been hard work, really hard work back then to work in that place, you know, which is why it's amazing that he looked after his workers and just basically, yeah, it was socialist and for the people and for the workers, and how amazing is that? So, skip back ahead. We're in Corbridge, we're having a lovely time, we've gone for lots of walks. I had time to kill. My mum went out for a lunch with her friends, and was I still positive? No. I was negative for COVID, but I still had no energy and I wasn't feeling very well. And so what do you do when you're not feeling very well? You take yourself off to a yarn shop. So I'm just getting my notes here because I know it was called Ready Steady Knit, but I need to look at the town it was in because I can't pronounce it and I keep calling it something other than what it is. So I took a little bus from Corbridge into Prudhoe, or Prudder, however you want to call it, and went to a shop called Ready Steady Knit. It was the only yarn shop around that wasn't me going into Newcastle City itself, and I just needed a little hit of woolly things, and the lady in there was so lovely. We got chatting, and it turns out a lot of the workers from Prudhoe ended up in Australia when all the coal mines shut down, and they ended up moving to a place here in Australia called Wollongong. And so that was like a really nice tie-in to home, or one of my homes, because I have two homes, which I'm really lucky to have, but it's, yeah, heartbreaking when you have to leave all the people that you love behind. Yes, so I bought a few things from her. I don't think I bought any wool, but I did buy a few acquisitions, which I'll talk about a little bit later. So that was nice and that was lovely. And that was a nice little sort of hour out while I had COVID and I had zero energy whatsoever. So yeah, I also, we went to, I didn't write that one down, but I did go somewhere else. I will put a little down here, which was basically like a local crafty handmade shop, and they ran workshops and things like that. They had a basket of free wool. I didn't take any because I didn't need anything from it. And you know, you've got to leave these things for people that actually need it and are going to use it and have something in mind. Or need a little help, because sometimes we can't afford things, you know, especially with the cost of living these days. Yeah, so from there we went back to the farm, as I said earlier, and then got the train down to the Yorkshire Dales and thankfully had a lift to our cottage, which was an old flour mill in a place called Leyburn. And it was a bit outside of Leyburn, but thankfully, because we had no car, that we had a lovely friend of the family who was very kind and took us there. My mum was really unwell, and because she was unwell, she was stressed, and she was stressed that we were in the middle of nowhere. and we didn't have any transport. And although our family came and it all worked out, and then thankfully my best friend, who I met, we've been talking online for 4 years, video calls every week, talking on the phone every day, and we finally met in person. And what a lovely human being. That's an understatement. But she's very private, so I'm not going to share too much. However, we met in person after 4 years. It was wonderful. She's lovely. Such a kind human being. Love her to pieces. And so we had met in Corbridge. Then she came to the Yorkshire Dales, and we had a really nice day out. And we went to Wensleydale Longwool in Leyburn, and I did buy quite a few balls of yarn there, including some West Yorkshire Spinners Christmas sock wool. And so that was nice, and the whole Yorkshire Dales experience for me was just incredible. I found out there was another Australian living in the village. I had lots of like 3-4 hour walks through fields with cows and sheep. I was just in absolute heaven. And part of the reason that I found it difficult settling back in here is because I fell in love with the English countryside. And although I've been many times to the UK, I'm from the UK, there was just something about this trip that really just sung to what I would like out of my life. And, you know, I'm 41 this year, and you never know what will happen. And I'm working that out, realistically, I'm working that out, what I want to do, which is very complicated. It's not an easy thing to think about. You know, moving overseas is a hell of a journey. Moving anywhere is hard, but moving to the other side of the world is just very big. And so I'm parking that train of thought. I'm trying to settle back in and ground myself here. And I can go for holidays there more frequently, and yeah, we shall see. We shall see what road life takes me on, and what road I choose to take, I guess, is really the moral of that story. Anyway, I'm not going to get too deep because I could be here all day. And I don't think you want to hear all that anyway. So, beautiful week in the Yorkshire Dales. Then my best friend picked me up and took us to the train station so that we could head down to see my uncle down in Devon. Which they live on a farm in Sidmouth, which is not far from Exeter. Now, I had my bucket list. One of my bucket lists to walk over Dartmoor. So we did. And it was, you couldn't have asked for better weather at all. And we stumbled across a craft fair, and I bought some lovely local Dartmoor wool as well. I'll put in a bit of footage here of that part of the trip because it was just absolutely incredible. And actually, I'll put some in of the Yorkshire Dales as well. I may have already put it in, so if I have, just skip ahead. So from there we went to London for a couple of days and went to Liberty, and I got a little bit of fabric, not much, very expensive, but beautiful. Love Liberty. And one more knitting shop called Beautiful Knitters. We didn't go to Loop because we didn't have very much time, and out of the two knitting stores that we were going to go into, Beautiful Knitters seemed to appeal to us the most. And although there was mainly window shopping there, I still bought some sock yarn from there too. So yeah, that was our trip, and it was amazing. And in some ways I was ready to come home, and in other ways I wasn't. And when I got home, I was ready to be here, but then I realized, you know, that my brain's a little neurospicy and takes a little longer to adjust to things, maybe. But as I said, I don't want to deep dive into that conversation about life because I'm having a good day today, and I'm going to want to keep it that way. Cheers. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, basically. Right, now let's move on from the holiday. Shall we start with acquisitions since we've just been on holiday together? I think that's a good idea. So Liberty London, I'm going to go backwards. Liberty London, I got this beautiful pin cushion made out of all Liberty fabric, and it's a little pear and it's super cute. And some fabric as well, which I plan to make a project bag for myself out of. I think that's going to be I think it's probably going to be the lining, but I'm not sure. It could go either way. And this decal, which if I use that material for the lining, I could do something plain on the outside and then use this, you know, as a little memento from my trip, I think that'd be quite nice. Moving backwards to, well, actually, this one is an acquisition that didn't come from my trip, but it came from Stitched by Mrs. D, and it's just so cute that I had to get it. I love her project bags. They're so well made and beautiful, and I can't buy too many of them because shipping from the UK to Australia is a bit expensive. But sometimes you just can't resist. And that was one of those times. I'm just going to randomly show things because it's all in a big pile here, and I think it's easier that way. So when I went to Prada, I got this beautiful puffin bag, which is an Emma Ball bag, and I got quite a bigger one because I'm always getting smaller ones. And I do have a project in mind to do a bit of a bigger project than socks, so it'd be nice to put it in here. And I also wanted a little memento of my trip to go and see the puffins, but obviously it was the wrong time of year. So I'll have to go back just to see them. There you go. I don't really need an excuse, but there's one. When I was in Scotland, I was very disappointed that we didn't get on our Outlander tour. Until I treated myself to some Harris tweed. This little, it's a purse, but I'm going to use it as a notions pouch. And it's so cute. I haven't even taken the label off yet. There's a couple of tins that I also acquired with the seals as well. Also Emma Ball. I always find it really awkward showing acquisitions because I'm not really one to sort of show off purchases, I feel a little awkward about it. Do you? Moving on to yarny purchases. I did have money from my dad for gifts. He gave me some spending money. I did save some of my wages to purposely buy some wool while I was away. So I did acquire a fair bit. Not a massive amount, but a fair bit. So from New Lanark Woolen Mill, I got some double knitting, 100% pure wool. This is the New Lanark Textile Mill. And this is Woodland B179. It's 100 grams, sorry, 240 meters. And it doesn't have, well, I was about to say it doesn't have a colorway, but it does. That's the Woodland. And it's just so pretty. It's got lots of different flecks in here. And it's really beautiful. It smells quite sheepy. And there's a video of them not making this color, but as I put in earlier, of the mill. So it's like, it's nice to have something that I have seen the production of it being made. Sort of. You know what I mean? Like not this color, but anyway. So that was New Lanark. I'm just referring to my notes so that I don't jump around like a jumping bean. So then I went to Prada and Ready Steady Knit, and I didn't buy any wool there, but I bought the Emma Ball bag and the tins, and I bought another project bag with a hedgehog on it for my mum. And then in the Yorkshire Dales from Wensleydale Long Wool, I got quite a few things. So I got one ball of the West Yorkshire Spinners Signature Sparkle 4-ply Yuletide Christmas colorway, 75% wool, 23% nylon, 2% polyester. Now my plan is to make some Christmas socks. I have started, which I'll show you in my whips, and I have a second ball. I also picked up some more sock yarn. So there's 3 of them. This is the Knit Pro Symphony Terra, 75% superwash merino, 25% polyamide. It's 100 grams fingering weight in 3 different colors. I'm doing a sock club, and I picked these up with that sock club in mind. Whether or not it gets used for that is another story. But I just couldn't resist. And although everything has green in it, because we all know that green is my favorite color, don't we, Anita? Anita from the Wool Inn and I have the same love of green, and she's my local yarny store, and she's amazing, and I'm always in awe of her things, and vice versa, because we both have the same taste in color. This is actually really soft, I mean, as you would expect from merino. Yes, so that's what I got from there. In the craft fair down in Devon and Dartmoor, there was this lovely store which had homewares, And I thought, ooh, I hope that there's some yarny things in this craft fair. And there was. So the Rochdale Wool Company is where this came from. We've got Masham and 100% British wool. And it's all from their small farm. It's all DK. And I got these colors here. And my plan is for these to make a shawl that has potentially a wave in it, because I feel like they're kind of oceany colors. And that is this lovely teal. So I bought this with a shawl in mind. So yeah, that one is 100 grams, the Rochdale Wool Company.co.uk. So then we went down to London, and although there was some really stunningly beautiful hand-dyed yarn in beautiful knitters in London, like stunning, absolutely stunning, and the girls in there were really lovely, it was the end of my trip and they were quite pricey. And that's all well and good, but I decided to not do that. So instead I got some sock yarn. I got the Aloe sock wool, which is 75% wool and 25% polyamide. That seems to be a pretty standard blend in the UK. Even though this one is actually, I want to say Swiss. Knitting with Love, I can't say this word, HJERTE garn.com. I'm pretty sure that's Switzerland. Or is it Denmark? I actually don't know, and I can't find it on here. What? Like, it doesn't say. But it is, maybe you guys know, you can tell me in the comments. Anyway, this is it. And it's this lovely green colour. And then I got 2 more balls of West Yorkshire Spinners in cardamom, which I plan to do a vanilla sock with. I actually do have a pattern for that. It's going to be a very Christmas themed pattern. Actually, Stitched by Mrs. D has just done one and I am really inspired by her, I have to say. And then my favourite bird, robin. That's the robin colourway, which obviously will also be a pair of socks. So yeah, I bought a little bit. Oh, and knitting for Olive, I got some mohair, and that I plan to put with this, basically. But yeah, so I did buy a little bit along my way, but not like crazy too much. Not anything I won't use. And I have a whole goal to knit a year of socks in 2025, which I've already started. And so yeah, I've been focusing. I've got some in there for a jumper and some in there for a shawl, or like a vest rather than a jumper. I'm not sure. And then a shawl, but mostly I focus on sock wool because I have a plan to knit a year of socks. Oh, and I got this Wensleydale. That was from my best friend. So, yes, didn't go crazy, but still got enough. I got a little bit from everywhere I went for a bit of a memory, you know? Been talking too much, my tea's gone cold. Now, works in progress. So I have finished 1 sock out of 2 and started the second one. I can't call it my COVID sock, but I can call it my COVID sock because I knitted this while I had COVID in England. And I'll never forget it. And I knit it watching Downton Abbey and and my Yorkshire farm and the Yorkshire vet. So it's got a lot of memories in this sock, really, including COVID for the first time ever. Not fun. So this is Tea at Downton, Bakery Bears, K, having a mental blank, I'll put the name down here. K Jones, sorry, Bakery Bears, Tea at Downton, that's the pattern. The main colorway in this sock, I actually don't have any information about because I got it secondhand off Marketplace. However, the secondary color for the toe, cuff and heel is the Australian wool saw, hand-dyed yarn. Doesn't tell me a color, I thought it did. Is it in here? Oh. Anyway, that's 100% superwash merino, 4-ply, and I'm surprised it doesn't have a color, but here it is. Now I have been knitting this and keeping it in my project bag from Stitched by Mrs. D, and it actually is so cute. And it matches. Anyway, this is the sock. How beautiful is that? The detail in this is just lovely. I do have a sock block I was going to show you on it. But I think that you can see anyway without it. Maybe I can show you when I finish both of them. So that is an umbrella toe. And they have been knit on 2.5mm Knit Pro wooden needles so I could knit on the plane. And this is the colorway, which unfortunately I have no information about. Sad face. Because I would love to have information because it's really pretty and I'd like to buy more, but it's probably never going to happen. And that's okay because they look beautiful as they are. So the other project I have on the needles is the West Yorkshire Spinners Christmas sock. Now, this is how much I've done. Also very pretty. Now I'm using this pattern. I am using the pattern called Noel by Winwick Mum. Here. And this is it. Now, it's on hold at the moment because although it's easy, it's complicated. The pattern is written in a way that I'm not used to, and so it's been a really good learning curve for me. I've only been knitting 2 years, and so from that point of view, I've enjoyed it. However, given the complexity of this yarn, I really think that it could be knit as a vanilla sock and still do it justice. You can't really see the beautiful pattern in this sock because the yarn is too busy. So my advice from people at the Knitters Guild is to get my second ball of this yarn and start a vanilla sock. Park this one for the time being and knit the vanilla sock and then see if I want to go back to this or whether I'm going to knit a second vanilla socks and use this pattern to knit something plain so that you can actually see, because it's beautiful and every line is different, but I don't know, give me your opinion. I personally think it doesn't do it justice because you can't really tell the detail. I mean, you can if you do that, but I mean, is anyone going to look that closely at a sock when it's on my foot? Probably not. So parking that one for now. But the wool is beautiful, the colorway is beautiful, the pattern is great. I just don't think they go together. This is one that I made, and it is a two-way. It's got sheep on the inside, but because it's Christmas, I put it in the stars. Yeah, so they're my whips. I do have a finished project, which you'll all remember me knitting on. This is my beautiful Stephen West Boneyard shawl. Finished. And I wore it all the way around the Yorkshire Dales. I will put a photo of me right here wearing it. And it was just amazing that I finished it in time, which I didn't think I was going to if you watched my last video. And that came with me on my travels. So yeah, I have some plans for more socks. As you just heard, I'm going to do a year of socks. I signed up for the Anne of Green Gables Sock Club by the Kitchen Sink shop. She's got some beautiful patterns for dishcloths, if you're a dishcloth person. And she's got some beautiful sock patterns as well. So this is the Anne of Green Gables collection. There's Little Women collection, like there's a few different ones. This is one that's happening at the moment. I believe you can still buy it on Ravelry. So that's the Kitchen Sink shop. I won't show you because that was my cat. I won't show you because, well, I mean, I can show you that. Because you can pay for, it's paid, it's a paid pattern, it's part of a collection. You get one in September, which is this, one in October, sorry, which is this, one in November, one in December. My goal was to have this cast on, but as you can see, I have too much going on. My head's been an absolute mess and I want to finish a few things before I get started. So I will have another one out of 3 come up in November. I honestly think, because I have some Christmas projects going on, that my Anne sock adventure is not going to happen until January. So then that will be January, February, March. That's 3 pairs of socks covered. I think I'm going to use this to do my Anne socks, which is Swanky Sock, I believe. Swanky Sock by Magpie Fibers. 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. Doesn't have a colorway. I don't know why I keep having no colorway information on things. Really don't know. Maybe it was because, well, I don't know. I really don't know. But it's really pretty. And I think that'll be a nice Anne sock. It's got flecks of red in there, which go with the color of her hair. And just reminds me of, you know, when she's like wandering around in the forest or bush that her and Diana hang out in their teepee. And I'm talking Anne with an E at the moment, in case anyone's thinking, what are you talking about? I'm talking Anne with an E on Netflix. Very good series. If you haven't watched it, watch it. And the next plan I have is because I have everything winter wear. This is pure wool. I've done a swatch. This is it. I have a huge cone of this. I have no information whatsoever. Again. However, this is the swatch. And I plan on knitting a long Avagana Respico. Sorry if I didn't pronounce that very well. T-shirt out of this. I did a little swatch because I wasn't sure if it would be drapey enough. Because it does call for sock wool, and this is 4-ply. So I think that'd be quite nice. It feels very light and airy, and I'm going to give that a red hot go. So that is a project for 2025. I know I'm jumping ahead of myself, but I'm just trying to think about using my stash next year, which is why I started with this, because my goal now that I bought all that lovely wool from the UK, and I have a plan for many of these things, I really don't think I need to buy anything else. I have more, so I've got things until the end of the year. It's my birthday in a couple of weeks. I know that I'm going to acquire more things, and that's fine. I have won a few things over the course of the year, and that's also fine. But I'm going to de-stash, so I'm going to sell a few things, or at least try to. Anything I can't sell, or anything that I think will benefit someone, I'm going to give away, charity or something. Maybe do a giveaway on here even. Maybe when I reach a certain amount of followers, let's say 1,000, I can do a giveaway. That seems fair. So make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to my video, and you too may get the chance to win some wool. I have nothing left to say other than I'm really happy that you've been here for the ride. I think we're at 46 minutes. Your attention span probably left somewhere along the way. I know mine does. You've probably paused it a few times and come back to it. I hope that you've watched it to here and watched it to the end. I really do appreciate you. I hope that things are well in your world. I'd love to hear what you guys are knitting or crocheting, because I know I've got a few crochet followers. I haven't crocheted for 2 years, but I am a crocheter as well. And I am also starting to make project bags. I'm going to sell them. I have started my Instagram in the hopes to maintain momentum and keep me on track. My first lot will be some Christmas project bags around like sock size. Some will be a little bit bigger, but generally speaking, sock size project bags. So yeah, I'll put all the links below. If you follow me on Instagram, go into my link tree, everything is there. I don't think I have anything else to say. I thought about doing Vlogtober. Obviously it's too late, but I enjoy making vlogs. I really do. But to do it every day for a whole month, I don't know if I can do it. I may do Vlogmas, but do it like a week at a time. And the other thing is, like, I find that vlogs are really interesting for people that aren't working full-time. For those of us who are, like, what am I going to show? Oh, I'm on my way to work. I'm on my way home from work. Like, do you know what I mean? So I really have to think about that. But let me know if you would like me to do that. I've things like gardening. I mean, knitting over the summer. I'll be in air conditioning, so I probably will get knitting done. But this is part of the other reason that I'm doing socks, is because we're going into the hotter months and it's just very hot and horrible. And I hate it. I hate summer. I live in New South Wales. I live in Penrith, which is one of the hottest places in Sydney. And I hate it. I hate it. I do. But that's okay, because the rest of the year is lovely. I love winter. I used to live down in Victoria and it was lovely. Maybe I will again. I don't know. I don't know. That's like midlife crisis. That's like brain fart thinking, what am I going to do with my life? But at the moment, this is where I live. I have an air conditioner. And honestly, quite honestly, I'm very blessed and very privileged, and I'm not in the middle of a war zone. And life is wonderful. And really, that's all we can really focus on, gratitude, because there is so much happening around the world. there's so much happening down the road, you know, in terms of people are really struggling at the moment. The cost of living is insane for everyone globally. And I do lead a very blessed and privileged life, and I'm very grateful for it, and I'm not taking that away. You know, I have a lot to be thankful for, and I am. And just because I hate summer and it's hot, really, it could be a lot worse, right? So I'll stick my aircon on, I'll knit my socks, I'll get through it, and I'll get to the other side in lovely autumn. Right, now I've been waffling on now for a few minutes about nothing. Thank you for watching. I'm really grateful that you're here. And thanks for coming back. And I'll see you very soon.